To the ones who've been holding it all, the silence, the emotions, the logistics, this space is for you. You're still making them coffee, still laughing at the right moments, still showing up when you're supposed to. And yet, something in you has already started packing. Most people think living is loud, a decision, a confrontation, a moment you can point to. But most of the time, living doesn't start with action. It starts in the quiet, long before anyone notices, long before you fully notice. It starts when you begin to withdraw. At first, nothing looks different from the outside. You're still there, still responding, still going through the motions. But internally, something has shifted. You're not leaning in the same way, not reaching in the same way, not offering yourself as freely, because something in you has started to understand. This is costing me more than I can keep giving. And that realization doesn't arrive with clarity. It doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it shows up in your body first. A heaviness when you hear their footsteps. A tightening in your chest before certain conversations. A quiet sense of dread where there used to be ease. Not dramatic, not explosive, just a slow internal pulling back. And sometimes you don't even realize it's happening. You just notice you're more tired than usual, more quiet, like something in you has stepped back without asking permission. One of the first things that changes is how much you explain. You used to try, to clarify, to help them understand. You choose your words carefully so they wouldn't feel attacked, so the conversation wouldn't escalate. You carried not just your own emotions, but the weight of how those emotions would land on someone else. But over time, something wears down. Not because you stopped caring, but because you've said it before. In different ways, at different times, in moments that mattered. And instead of being met, you were dismissed, minimized, or asked to explain yourself again and again and again. So eventually, you stop. Not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. Because there's a moment, and you know it if you've lived it, where you hear yourself starting to explain again, and something inside you just drops. Not because you don't have the words, but because you no longer believe they'll land differently this time. Then something subtler happens. You stop reacting the same way. Things that once cut deep, you meet with stillness now. Not because they don't matter, but because you're tired of the cycle. The hurt, the conversation, the defensiveness, the temporary calm, and then the same pattern again. So you start conserving, You pause where you used to push. You let things pass that you wouldn't have before. You choose silence even when you have something to say. And from the outside, this can look like growth, like maturity, like not making it a big deal anymore. But here is what that stillness often actually is. Imagine holding a door open for a long time. At first you hold it because you want to. Then because you hope someone will walk through it. Then you're just holding it out of habit. Until one day you realize your arm isn't even straining anymore. You've just let it close quietly. That's not peace. That's the beginning of letting go. And then comes the silence. Not the kind meant to punish. Not withdrawal to control or manipulate. A different kind of quiet. A protective one. You stop bringing things up. Not because they are resolved, but because you no longer believe they will be. You stop sharing parts of your inner world because it doesn't feel safe or received. You stop reaching for connection in the same way because it hasn't been met with the depth you needed. So you go quiet. Not loudly, not dramatically, but consistently. And this is the part that gets misread most often. Because the other person might say, "You're different lately. I don't know where you go when you go quiet. It feels like you're not really here." And they're not wrong. But here's what's often missed. They usually don't know why either. They're not watching you withdraw and choosing to ignore it. Most of the time, they genuinely can't see it. Because what's happening inside you is invisible until it isn't. And by the time it becomes visible, a lot has already happened beneath the surface. This is where it becomes even more subtle. Because often, your body knows before your mind is ready to admit it. You feel tired, but not physically tired. Heavy, without a clear reason. Foggy, like something isn't sitting right. You walk into a room and your shoulders tighten before anything has even happened. You are carrying something that isn't fully yours to carry, but you can't figure out how to put it down. And you start questioning yourself. Am I overreacting? Is it really that bad? Why can't I just let this go? I remember being in that place, trying to logic my way out of something my body had already decided. Telling myself I was being too sensitive, that I should try harder, that maybe if I just explain it one more time. But the body doesn't negotiate. It keeps responding, pulling back, creating distance, even while you're still physically present. Because part of you already knows what your mind is still trying to make sense of. And so you stay, but not in the same way. You're more contained now, more careful, more self-protective. You give less access to your inner world, less of your emotions, less of the parts of you that used to reach freely. You're still present, but you're no longer fully available. And that's a very quiet but very real shift. Sometimes this phase lasts weeks, sometimes years, because withdrawal isn't always the end. Sometimes it's the space where clarity slowly forms, where you start to understand what you've been giving, what you've been missing, and what you actually need. If you recognize yourself here, this isn't you becoming cold. This isn't distance for no reason. This is your nervous system doing what nervous systems do, responding to what it has repeatedly experienced. Not all at once, but slowly, in ways you may have tried to override or explain away or push through. Think of it less like a character flaw and more like a compass reading. It's pointing somewhere, toward what has felt safe and what hasn't, toward what has sustained you and what has slowly worn you down. The question isn't, why am I like this? The question is, what is this telling me? Because by the time someone physically leaves, they've often already been gone, in small ways, for a long time. In conversations they stopped having, in the emotions they stopped sharing, in the parts of themselves they quietly pulled back and stopped offering. Leaving doesn't start with the door closing. It starts here, in the quiet, in the space where someone begins, slowly, carefully, choosing themselves, even before they fully acted on it, even before they have the words for it, even when they're still making the coffee and laughing at the right moments. So if you've been feeling yourself pulling back, becoming quieter, more distant, more careful with where you place your energy, don't rush past that, because sometimes that quiet shift isn't you falling apart. It's you coming back to yourself, not loudly, not all at once, but in small moments where you stop abandoning yourself to keep something else going. And if you've been holding everything together, here you can set some of it down.